Russia has been marking the 76th anniversary of its victory in the Second World War with a massive display of military strength on Moscow's Red Square. More than 10,000 soldiers took part. Russian President Vladimir Putin was on hand for the event. This year's parade comes amid increased tensions with the West and neighbouring Ukraine, which accuses Russia of amassing troops at its border. Our bureau chief, Yuri Reshetto, has more for us from Moscow. Yuri, who's this show of military strength directed at?
Of course, Rebecca, this parade is first and foremost a very large and glamorous show. It's a huge display of military might. Moscow's foreign policy is clearly backed by military muscle. Many who see today's parade, for example, especially the people in neighboring Ukraine, will certainly think of the Russian troops on the Ukrainian border. Just recently, the Russian armed forces carried out large-scale and heavy military exercises there. They stayed on Russian soil, but they were extremely close to the Ukrainian border. The big war that some people feared didn't materialize, but the question is how quickly such a situation can repeat itself. In addition to the conflict with Ukraine, Russia has also been involved in the Syrian conflict for years. The Kremlin is fighting international terrorism there in Syria, at least that's the official reason for the military operation there. Against the backdrop of these conflicts, today's Victory Day parade feels here in Moscow like a message to the world not to mess with Russia.
Now, Yuri, it's been 76 years since the war ended, but this is still a hugely important event in Russia. Why does Victory Day mean so much for Russian people?
Well, look, today's parade is an important part of the patriotic education of people in Russia. But today is about much more than patriotism just on a government level. We have to keep in mind, Rebecca, that today is a very special day for millions of Russian families. And not only Russians, but also Ukrainians, Belarusians, Kazakhs, Uzbeks, all the people of the former Soviet Union, because no other country in the world suffered as many victims in the World War II as the Soviet Union. That is why millions of families will celebrate this day at home with friends and relatives, as well as with walks and festivals in their home cities.
Now, Yuri, such pomp and ceremony, but we can't forget that this parade's happening in the middle of a pandemic and the Russian infection rates are still quite high. What precautions are being taken?
Yeah, absolutely. Officially, Russia is still affected by the pandemic, and officially some restrictions in public life also apply here. But look, these restrictions are nothing compared to the lockdown in Western Europe. Outwardly, Moscow doesn't look like a city hit by the pandemic. But first of all, the vaccination campaign has been up and running in Russia for months, and anyone who wants to get vaccinated against COVID-19 free of charge can do it. Although the rollout has been slow as people prove deeply reluctant to be injected. Independent surveys found only 30% of Russians willing to receive the Russian vaccine Sputnik V. One of the reasons is that Russians are conservative, they don't trust their own state, and they don't trust whatever can come out of this state.
All right, Yuri, thank you very much for that. DW's Moscow Bureau Chief Yuri Reshetto.